Hello guys, welcome back to my little series of guitar lessons. This is the third one in the installment. In the first one we discussed how standard tuning works, and in the second one we talked about a few exercises you can do to strengthen your fingers and also how to make variations of exercises that you already know. Now, building up on that knowledge, today we're going to start with scales, specifically the major scale. Why is that? Because if you know the mechanics of making a major scale, then the mechanics of making other scales in Western music theory practically works the same way. Okay, in the first video where I discussed standard tuning, we realized that looking downwards from the 6th to the 5th string, E, A, we're tuning in fourths, right? E, F, G, A. I hope that little pause I gave you made you think of what interval it is, right? After a while, it should be instantaneous. E to A, or that's a fourth, okay. For that, we'll use the circle of fifths. We'll have another video based on that, but I want to take it slow. But basically, intervals in general mean a gap, right? An interval of time. Same thing with music. An interval musically is a gap between notes. You can have two types of intervals. You can have melodic intervals. Now, melodies tend to go note by note. Harmonic intervals are like that. In melodic intervals, you play the notes one by one, right? And in harmonic intervals, you play the intervals together, okay? Harmonizing between two notes versus melodies, it's one by one. We know what intervals are, we know what harmonic and melodic intervals are. In the previous first lesson, we learned about two specific types of intervals, the smallest ones that we have. The first was a semitone or a half step. On our guitar, a half step is a fret away. So for example, if you're on the A string, 3rd fret, take a second. Think about what note that should be. On the A string, 3rd fret. It's a C. Okay, try to see if you got it right. After a while, you want to be able to play a note. That's a C. That's an E. That's a D. That's an A. That's a G. Alright, you want to recognize notes all over your fretboard. The more you play, the more you practice, and the more you consciously think about notes, the easier it becomes. So, a fret distance is a semitone or a half step. Therefore, a distance where you skip a fret, right, is a tone or a whole step. It's composed of two semitones. So if I start on the C note again on the A string, C to C sharp is a semitone. Now there's another name for C sharp. We call it D flat. This is called enharmonic equivalence. I will cover that in another lesson in more detail probably, but I'll leave a link for some information about this. Essentially, it's when the same sound has two different names. So here I am playing a C sharp, and here I am playing a D flat. The sound doesn't change, just the name. As you go on forward learning more about music, you'll see why this is important. But multiple notes can have multiple names. So if somebody tells you that there is no E sharp, that's actually not true. Yes, there is no note between E and F, but does that mean E sharp doesn't exist? This is a mistake many guitarists make. So, we've learned about our semitones, a fret away, 2 frets away, tones, half steps, whole steps. Now we're going to combine both and make a major scale. If you want to define a scale to somebody, you would explain it to them as a collection of notes that go well together. Whether they sound good or bad can depend upon cultural understanding of music. There's a great channel called Adam Neely. He's a wonderful musician and he talks about different kinds of music. Different cultures have different kinds of music and how that works. I'll leave some links below for you to explore music from other countries and see how that sounds to your ears. But right now we're discussing Western music theory. So our scales are usually collection of notes that go well together. So if I play, it's a major scale, right? Now, how do you make a major scale? There's simply a formula for a major scale, okay? If we start at C, you go a tone from C. Think about it as I'm telling you whichever interval to take, right? And then see if you can reach the same note as I'm reaching. So I know a tone from C, you skip C sharp, you reach D, C, D. So on the A string, it will be the 3rd fret, then the 5th fret. Okay, C, D, that's a tone. Then we take another tone. From D, we skip D sharp, go to E. That's our first 3 notes. Tone, tone. Then comes a semitone. What's a semitone from E? What do you think? C, D, E. Semitone would be F, right? So on the next string now, what I do is 3 notes per string. There's multiple ways to play a major scale. Some people play it like this. Right? I'll show it to you like this. There's no wrong or right way to play it necessarily as long as you're playing the right notes, right? So C, D, E we found. Now let's find F on the next string, right? Try to take some time, pause the video and try to find where F is. Now, if you've paused the video and now you're back, now you know where F is. F is on the 3rd fret of the D string, right? F. So C, D, E, F, right? So that's tone, C to D, tone, D to E, semitone, E to F, tone, F to G now. That's the next one, another tone. Then another tone, G to A. Then another tone, A to B. And a semitone, B to C. So our major scale formula goes tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So that's basically a major scale formula. Each scale has its own formula. But now you can play a major scale. Whatever I've given the tabs for right now will work on the E string and the A string. Try it out for yourself and see how it works. But what I want you to remember is just try to stretch your fingers a little more, okay? Make sure there's no buzz, alright? And remember, your major scales, minor scales all go in alphabetical order. So once you know that a scale is made with the help of a formula, if you're given a formula, you can figure out another scale. So this is our introduction to a major scale. Okay, how we make one. Now try, start on any note randomly, pick like a G and use the major scale formula to make a G major scale. So 2 things to remember when you're making a scale. You alphabetical order. You don't skip notes, you don't repeat notes. And secondly, you want to end on the same note that you began with. If you have any questions, any doubts, feel free to reach out in the comments. I'll leave resources in the description. Today you've learned how to make and play a major scale. Keep practicing and stay safe.